With the Zadarius Smith trade over, one soap opera drama is over for the Vikings this offseason, but another yet to be determined what's going to happen, although it does seem like a fait accompli, is what are the Vikings going to do with star running back Dalvin Cook? Are they going to trade him to the Dolphins, who potentially could be interested despite drafting Devin McCain as well as signing a couple free agent running backs? Or is Dalvin just going to be cut, released, covering up that logo, all that stuff we know? And the Vikings, of course, played into it, featuring running back Alexander Madison on their social medias during the schedule release versus Dalvin Cook. And I don't know, like it seems like it's done, but also there's still an outside shot that they could run it back. Who really knows at this point? But Bleacher Report pieced together a segment from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. Dalvin Cook trade rumors. Vikings want to do right by running back despite $14 million cap hit. And this is from Jeremy Fowler on SportsCenter over the weekend. Quote, Dalvin Cook's future has been sort of open-ended recently. I was told from a source that the Vikings want to do right by Dalvin Cook right meow. They're willing to hold onto his cap hit around $14 million until they figure this all out. They want him to go to a place where he can play and be happy. That's all we want, man. That's all we want. Whether that's via trade or eventual release or even staying in Minnesota. But that's sort of the thing they've been sorting through. I believe the Vikings have been willing to listen to trade offers. I talked to some teams who have linked Dalvin Cook to Miami in the past just because he's a South Florida guy. They were looking for a running back at one point, but also drafted one in the third round and re-signed a couple players. I just said that. So there's no clear-cut avenue for him to be traded, at least at the moment, and the Vikings moved on from Zadarius Smith. They could be willing to move on from Dalvin Cook at some point, but it hasn't shaken out yet. And with Dalvin's contract, $10.4 million base, $2 million of it guaranteed. I think that if they do anything, it'll be post-June 1st, so the Vikings would get even more cap savings by either cutting or trading him. And it's interesting. The whole doing right by Dalvin Cook, it's something that we picked up when Kevin O'Connell was on with Florio on PFT PM, where he said, we want what's best for Dalvin, and Dalvin knows that. And also it goes into the report that the Zadarius Smith trade, Smith had two other suitors but found chance to play opposite Myles Garrett appealing. So it's interesting that Fowler put that in there because it would think that because it would insinuate that the player had some say in where he was going to be traded. Now, Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell have built up a great culture here, but at a certain point, the business is the business. And if I doubt that they're taking less in terms of where a player ends up or is traded to, but I mean, it's really interesting and fascinating that, again, that's implied that Zadarius had impact on where he eventually was traded to. And the whole, Kevin O'Connell talking about we want what's best for Dalvin, and Dalvin knows that. So it is clear communication versus the team just telling the player, hey, this is where you're being traded to, this is where you're being cut, or you play here or you play nowhere else because you signed the contract. Who really knows at this stage? But also what's interesting with Dalvin's contract is there's no other key dates coming up before the start of the regular season. So this thing could stretch out. So after June 1st, I think that this could be a spot where this could drag on through mandatory minicamp in mid-June. This could drag on into training camp, although it is nearly impossible for players to hold out for training camp now because of fines as well as potentially having the contract tolling. So, I mean, the Vikings could just be like, hey, Dalvin, we're going to hold on to you through training camp, through preseason, right up until 53-man cuts, and then we're going to give you an ultimatum, the old tomato. Either take a pay cut or it's going to be a cut, and it's going to be more difficult for you to catch on and get some decent coin because teams will have their money spent. It will be at the start of the season. You have to learn a new offense on the fly, and it sucks, but that's the leverage at that point. But I doubt that they would do him dirty like that from everything that we're gathering, that they want to do right by him. That would be definitely the business is the business part. But I also don't think that, hey, if Dalvin came in and was like, hey, I want to be traded to the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are offering a 7th-round pick, and there was a mystery team that was offering a 5th, I don't think the Vikings would cut off their nose and spite their face just to make Dalvin happy. I don't think that they would do that. I could possibly see them just straight up releasing him if they don't get a decent trade offer. I don't think teams are champing at the bit to give up significant draft capital for a 28-year-old running back who's due a large contract number. So we'll see at this point. I think it's, to break it down percentage-wise, I would say it's probably like 30% that he's traded. I would say that it's 60% that he's cut, and I think it's 10% that he's back in a Vikings uniform this season, likely on a modified contract. But your thoughts are thoughts. Report the Vikings trying to do right by star running back Dalvin Cook. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.